You know, how are we ensuring that now we are having automated systems and there is a digital integration in all that we are doing? So then also definitely I should say that the public is interested in knowing with what's happening, especially in the areas of the road sector. We are in a phase where there's a lot of merging of government departments and agencies, and so people need to know really how this is being handled and how it's going to affect service delivery. So I believe that there is a lot that the public would be concerned about.
Now, Engineer Magembe rightly said the public needs to know. How is it going to know?
Well, that's partly the reason as to why we are here, because as engineers we have a day that we celebrate, and that's the World Engineering Day. And
that is 4th next month?
That is 4th of March next month. And on that day we are trying to create awareness of the existence and the relevance of engineers, and to show that there is need for the public to join us, and we have a thought-provoking discussions on a number of topical issues. This time definitely the theme is about shaping our sustainable future through engineering. So we believe that the public is a stakeholder. They are stakeholders in this, and it's very important that they get to know what's happening in the engineering sector. So through that avenue, they will get to know a lot more of what is happening within the engineering sector.
Thank you, Engineer Magembe. Now this brings me back to the Vice Chairperson of this board. Now, one of the things that are facing the engineering profession in this country, first and foremost, is for a long time we've had issues of collapsing buildings. Almost every year we have an incident. God forbid we don't want to have any 2025. The other burning issue has been many engineers graduate, but many of these buildings are not, or many of the constructors are not employing professional engineers. And one will tell you, instead of going for Magembe, who has gone through all this, the education, is registered, and all this, there is this young man, he started low. He has experience. A boy who began by carrying bricks and now is constructing flats is better to take on. He won't be expensive, but he has hands-on, more than these that spend time in class and all these. So how is this board addressing these issues?
Thank you, Robert. That's the reason why the board exists, to monitor and regulate the activities of engineers and their activities. Now, the current act does not provide for monitoring of farms and constructions, and that's why we have a bill that is now in Parliament, which would enable us to go further and oversee the activities of construction farms. But the other thing that the board is doing is in regulating that environment is to ensure that all these engineers that we are out there are onboarded into the requirements that every engineer should have. So in order for you to be able to supervise, you must have a minimum requirement of expertise in terms of expertise in the field in order to be able to supervise a project. And these projects, once we know that you're working on a project, we ask you to indicate all the parties involved in that project, and there we can easily monitor the projects. Now, when we get information on collapsing buildings, we don't work alone. In silos, we also work with the National Building Review Board. They actually have an eye to look out for those collapsing buildings, do investigations, and we work together to see how we can minimize this happening going forward.
Now, Engineer Magembe, let's look at the upcoming event, which is the World Engineering Day. And our viewer, this is going to be happening on the 4th of next month, that is March. Throw more light into this.
Now, the World Engineering Day, like we've said, it's a day when basically engineers, scientists will come together and have a deeper discussion about challenges within society of an engineering nature. And what the public should expect is that there are going to be a number of speakers. There are going to be a number of very, very interesting topics. If you've realized, Robert, today, all around the world, the topic in every conference is basically global warming. Global warming has become a pertinent issue in almost every sector. And so as engineers, we decided to turn this into the theme of our engineering day and look at various aspects of engineering solutions that can help to manage this. So we've invited a number of prolific speakers who are going to speak in a number of areas, and I would like to take this advantage to call upon the public to interest themselves in following the activities. We will actually begin with a run on Sunday, the 2nd, the engineering run, and then on the 4th at Africana Hotel, that's where we'll have the main activities. So there is a lot that people need to expect.
Now, Vice Chairperson, Engineer Patricia, let's look at who are to attend to be part of this.
Engineering students, graduates, working professionals, government officials, and all well-wishers, because engineering affects everybody and not only engineers. Yes.
What do you intend to achieve? Rather than just saying this is an annual event celebrated globally, we must celebrate it. What do you intend to achieve out of this?
One of them is being able to acknowledge the crucial impact that engineers have on a country's development. The other is highlighting the need for quality works, and that speaks into the issue of collapsing buildings, because once we recognize people who have done exceptional works, we have examples in our country like the Entebbe Expressway, we're able to encourage others to also strive higher. Then the other one is also to encourage government and industry to be interested in the engineering profession and address any gaps that are there. One of them we've talked about is the bill that's already in Parliament. And then also to promote awareness about the importance of sustainable engineering, because we do not only live for now, for the present, but also for the future.
Yes, please.
Yes, I would like to add to what my Vice Chairperson has said. Let me tell you today, Robert, if you can realize, we have national issues that have plagued our country and require us to sit together and find out sustainable solutions on matters to do with sustainability. One, if you look at, for example, the issue of Kitezi, if we had a sustainable solution on how to manage the rubbish that was being dumped in Kitezi, the catastrophe that befell us wouldn't have happened. Look at the pollution that is happening within the lakes. Look at the extraction of building materials. So these are some of the areas where we want to galvanize speakers and we find solutions. Now, when we get solutions on that day, we come out with the policy issues, and then we are able to advise government on how to handle some of these national issues. So it's very, very important that people take advantage of that.
Now, I was looking at something very interesting here where I saw recently, actually, the ERB published in the print media, if I recall very well, regarding standard certification. How will this help without quack engineers? Vice. Okay, proceed to engineer, but please.
Okay. Now, recently, definitely, the previous board recalled all stamps, because engineers have stamps. Now, those stamps were recalled partly to weed out, like you said, quacks, because there are many people who call themselves engineers, and they've gone ahead to go to NASA Road, they've gotten stamps, and they are stamping documents, engineering documents. And at the end of the day, they bring the name of the engineering sector in disrepute. So we decided to recall these stamps and add more security features so that it can be very difficult for them to reproduce these stamps. But then also, secondly, we needed to streamline the operations of engineers, because we found ourselves in a situation where engineers who are not experienced in a particular area go ahead and stamp documents that are in a different discipline. For example, an engineer in water goes ahead and stamps drawings for construction, you know. So now this time round, the stamp will be in line with your area of practice. So we give you a practicing license, and now that stamp will only operate in that area. So this process is ongoing, but it's meant really to streamline the conduct of engineers as well. Thank you.
And the guidelines will also help to protect the engineers in Uganda. We have a number of expatriates who come. We do not get to know who they are, but we are working closely with the Department of Immigration to see who is coming into the country, and when they come into the country to a particular institution, are they transferring knowledge to the Ugandans? So there we can easily ring fence and grow our capacity as Ugandan engineers.
Well, it's all about ensuring that the engineering profession in Uganda is professionalized, streamlined, and also to ensure that we have quality for what we pay for when we are seeking their services. Because the construction sector, and like I said earlier, I don't know much that can happen without engineering as a profession. But we have the best. Vice Chairperson, also I want to get to know this. You've talked about expatriates. Do we have enough professions in this country? Let me talk about the road sector. Most of the times I ask and wonder, what is it that hinders our engineers from running this sector? You look at a point where times you're driving through and like, for sure, do we still need this number? I won't mention the people to be constructing our roads after so many years. I don't know the number of your members, how many you have that are registered, because I know there are also those that could not be registered. But are we out, or do we lack professional engineers in this country in some disciplines?
We do not actually lack any registered engineer in any discipline. We have a few that are still emerging. We have more registered in particular disciplines. For example, civil is the biggest discipline where we have registered engineers. Then electrical and mechanical are small, but we are slowly growing those other disciplines. We have more coming up in biomedical, more coming up in telecommunications, so they are still growing in that area. But one of the requirements, especially for myself in the electrical sector, is once my company engages a foreign company to come and work, they have to subcontract a Ugandan company to build those skills. And then there's monitoring and evaluation to see what has been done, so as skills are transferred. So it is work in progress, and there's been developments in that area.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that there is work in progress and there have been developments in that area. Now, Engineer Magembe, when we talk about the ability or the mandate to register and deregister, but this doesn't give us the mandate to follow up, how are you going to address this?
The core mandate of ERB is basically, like our Vice Chair said, to control and regulate the practice of engineering in Uganda. And that means that we have a fiduciary role not only to register engineers, but to ensure that they also practice based on the industry ethics and standards. So we actually follow up, and that's why we every year we issue them with practicing licenses. So if we feel that your conduct does not befit the professional ethics required of you, you will not get that license. And secondly, we also take a proactive approach to this by ensuring that engineers do continue to learn. So one of our activities is to accredit CPDs and courses and programs, basically to build capacity of our engineers. You alluded to seeing more foreign engineers working on projects than the local ones. I do not know whether it's because of the frustration that has been encountered by the project owners, but it may have a lot to do with the capacity building as well. And so as a fraternity, we are doing a lot. We do outreaches, you know, we reach out to universities, to institutions, and to encourage professionalism and competence. And so we also follow up on the practice of the engineers. Yeah.
Now, on the last day of the activities to mark the World Engineering Day, every engineer that has been recently registered from the last event will have to take an oath. Now, when you take that oath, that means you're now accountable. And once you've been registered, you've now been brought into the fold, and we can easily follow up on you and be able to control and manage the engineers out there.
Well, I have a message from someone here. I'll just do it because this is my OB, an engineer, who is so much on my neck. I'll do that for him. He says, Robert, thank you so much for inviting the guests. I'm very happy to see them. Look at it, yes, I'm very happy to see them. But my question is, what is the mandate? That was asked, my brother, and answered. But he says the process of registering and being a member of the, he calls it the Uganda Engineering Registration Bureau. He says it is hectic, it is hard, and it seems they don't want the numbers to be many. Please, I have this to hear. It is your cup of tea, not mine.
Thank you very much for that question, Robert's Obi. Now, the process has actually been simplified from what it was maybe 10 or so years ago. The requirement at that time was that you must present a project that has gone through all the phases, right from initiation, to implementation. Now, with many of the disciplines now, especially more of electrical and mechanical, you might be forced into one project cycle, of the whole project cycle, and you cannot create something that you haven't done. So we are allowing for people to write about a portion of the project cycle. Now, with last year, we had people who were registered, and they started the process and completed it within only 4 months. So it is actually very easy to go through the registration process. I think what he needs to do, if he hasn't done that, it is to approach us, and then we can be able to guide him on the process. But it is much easier. Thank you.
Much easier, and I hope yes, engineer.
Yeah, I believe that efforts have been made, Robert, to ensure that the process is much easier, and also we are encouraging engineers now to register more. As a matter of fact, we are now conducting outreaches out there in companies, encouraging engineers to register. If you look at the numbers, from the time ERB was established in 1969 to around 2016-15, there were less than 800 engineers registered. But between then and now, that is within a span of about 8 years, we've registered over 1,200 engineers. So you can see that now there is goodwill. And we've also ensured that now we have registration clinics to help applicants prepare themselves very well to go through this process seamlessly well. And we now also take a proactive approach to engage with applicants to help them in the preparation of their report. It's not that they do not know or they're not competent, but at times the way they package themselves, the way they package their reports, the way they present themselves disfavors them. So we've gone ahead to engage and interact with the potential applicants to help them go through the process.
And also to celebrate this World Engineering Day activities, we have an event on the 3rd of March, which will be a Monday, the day after the run. It will be a webinar for recent graduates, for student engineers, and also for those who are not yet registered, to take them through the registration process and what is required. So all out there not yet registered, you're very welcome to that webinar.
Now, I think that answers your question. However, it is very important to let you know that on the 4th of next month, which is March, we'll be celebrating, engineers will be celebrating, don't want to be held accountable, a registered member, engineers will be celebrating the World Engineering Day, and that will be at Hotel Africana, like my guests have said, and it brings together everybody within the engineering fraternity. Now, how many categories of engineers do we have? You talked about electronic and mechanical, one talks about civil engineers. What are these categories?
The traditional categories of disciplines were civil, electrical, and mechanical. But we are now spreading out. People are getting more specialized. So under civil, you'll find some environmental engineers, some water engineers. Under mechanical, you'll find the agricultural engineers, the irrigation engineers. Under electrical, you'll find there are telecom engineers, there are software engineers, there are electronics engineers. There are also, I mentioned agricultural as well as biomedical engineers. So they are slowly growing as technology advances. And we are open to all those disciplines joining the board.
Now, Engineer Magembe, as we wind up, let me just give you a minute or two for your parting shot.
Okay, thank you so much, Robert, for inviting us. And I'm grateful to be here this morning. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our viewers, first and foremost, for taking the time to watch and listen to what we have to say this morning. And I would like to take this opportunity to call upon everyone, the general public, engineers, non-engineers, to come and participate in the World Engineering Day activities that will be starting with an engineering run on the 2nd of March. That will be Sunday, and that also take part in the activities that will be running on the 4th at Africana Hotel, because at the end of the day, engineers are meant to offer solutions to societal problems, and we can only do that if the society takes advantage of us. We thank you, and may God bless you.
Finally, Vice Chairperson, Engineer Patricia.
Thank you. I want to thank all the viewers that have taken time to tune into this show. I just want to leave you with one parting quote from a gentleman called Ross Perot, that the activist is not the man who says that the river is dirty. The activist is the man that cleans up the river. So as engineers, we need to be proactive, especially as we talk about sustainable engineering and the future. And then lastly, to add my voice to Engineer Magembe, you are all invited to the engineering activities that are marking the WED Day, starting with the run on Sunday, the webinar on Monday, the WED conference on Tuesday, and then the oath taking for the new engineers on Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Now, for those, do you have a website?
Yes, we do
Where
have a
some
website.
can get more details, because that is very important. Most I'm interested for the young engineers to be able to get registered and be members of this.
We actually have a lot of publicity going out, especially on the social media platforms, the Twitter and all that, where we are getting the engineers to log in their attendance for this webinar on Tuesday about registration. And so far we have received about 300 applicants already, so the numbers are ramping up. And we'll continue sending this out more regularly as we grow closer to the World Engineering Day.
So what is that? Do I put the Engineers Registration Bureau? I look for that, then I have the
Engineers Registration Board.go.ug.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, my guests this morning, the two engineers, and above all, you, our viewer, who's been with us all the way from 6:30 for Good Morning Uganda and the extension, which is Good Morning Uganda Extra. We wish successful deliberations as we look at shaping our sustainable future through engineering. How best can we preserve our environment through engineering? Have the best of your day. May the good Lord bless you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
The Uganda People's Defense Forces proudly announces the launch of the first ever UPDF-CDF Inter-Forces Drill Competition as we honor the spirit of unity, discipline and teamwork. This historic competition will feature individual and team drill routines, synchronization and formation changes, an inter-service championship and many more exciting activities and awards to be won. The launch of the first edition of the UPDF-CDF Inter-Forces Drill Competition will take place on the 15th February 2025 from 8 a.m. at the Uganda People's Defense Forces Sports Stadium in Bombo. The guest of honor will be the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, alongside other high-profile guests. The launch event will kickstart a series of activities leading up to the main competition, which will take place from the 12th to the 14th May 2025. For more details, please call 0392 947455. Long live